Blessings and welcome to the Path to Freedom. My name is Daniel Roquillo, and I'm very, very grateful that you're choosing to join me in a moment of expanding our consciousness, in a moment of raising our vibration, in a moment of allowing for more love and peace and joy and harmony and wholeness and abundance and beauty and all these beautiful divine qualities to emerge from within us. Always from within, never from without. Always from within. So this is a beautiful path where we get to set ourselves free to be all that we wish to be. Today we are talking about a beautiful practice, or actually it's an expression that popped into my mind just before recording this. Actually, it's a combination of two questions, or not questions, two expressions. And this particular expression, it is be still and know that all is well. I know that there's an expression that goes be still and know that I am God, but for some reason I'm not going to say that my mind, but it was tweaked to fit me, to suit me, to serve me in a beautiful way. Because oftentimes, as I'm sitting with individuals, as I'm having conversations with individuals, they are sharing things that they are moving through, and they are in the midst of sharing the challenge or problem, or however they label it. They immediately want to find the solution. They want to immediately figure out, and this is how the mind works, before we begin to retrain it or reprogram it to just be with whatever comes up. But the mind, the human collective consciousness, is so fluxed up. It is so in the need of needing to see. We're so relying on our physical senses that we need to be able to see, we need to be able to comprehend, we need to be able to sort of predict how things are going to work themselves out. And so this beautiful expression, be still and know that all is well, what I love about it is that it points us to the space out of which solutions arise, the space out of which answers arise, in the stillness of the nowness of this moment, in the stillness of this now moment. So a beautiful practice, depending on where the individual is who I'm speaking to, coming back to the breath is a beautiful practice. So I oftentimes invite them to just take a breath. Let's take a breath together. And in that coming back, in that consciously coming back to the nowness of this moment, a sweet release happens. As they and we, this goes for all of us, through that one breath, that conscious breath, we sort of sever the attachment. We break free from the identification of whatever thought form, whatever fear, worry, doubt, sense of doom and gloom, sense of worst case scenarios, sense of lack, scarcity. We break free from that by one breath, using the breath, coming back to the breath. And as we come back to the nowness of this moment, this now moment, the feeling tone arises if we come back. I need to add, because sometimes we take that breath and immediately, mid-breathing, the mind jumps right back to where it was. It jumps right back into the fear, the worry, the trying to figure out. But if we give the breath permission, if we can reclaim ownership over our minds, take back our minds, break free from being hijacked by the minds and by the world and by appearances and effects and conditions and circumstances. As we come back to the nowness of this moment, we begin to realize, is perhaps more appropriate. We begin to realize that in this now moment, right here, right now, all my needs are met. Everything that I need, which is not to say that I may have everything that I want, but everything that we need in the nowness of this moment is here. Everything that we need to keep moving forward is here. Everything that we need to keep allowing for the next great and grand version of who and what we are is here. So be still and know that all is well. How can we know that all is well? Well, we get to come into the realization, we get to come into the awareness that even in the midst of the most seemingly overwhelmingly conditions and circumstances, even in the midst of chaos, even in the midst of whatever, there's really only one thing happening. And that is spirit. That is God, the universe, life with a capital L, energy, the one mind, the one power, the one source of everything. And this loving presence, as I love to say, it is benevolent. It is always for itself. It cannot ever be against itself. It cannot ever contradict itself or go against itself or compromise itself. But it is always for itself. It is always seeking to reveal more of itself. It is in an eternal state and space of expansion and progression, so that more and more and more of that which it is may be revealed in us and through all of creation. So we get to know that it is all there is. We get to come into the understanding that it is good, that it is benevolent, even when circumstances and conditions may be bespeaking of something else other than benevolence. Benevolence is still here. Goodness is still here. And we get to trust that it is always expressing itself perfectly. That is divine and perfect timing happening always. God is never late. God is never early, but always right on time. And divine and perfect action is happening always. That which needs to happen for the next great and grand expression of who and what we are to emerge, for the next iteration of anything and everything, that which needs to happen, it will happen. And it will happen when it needs to happen. We may try to resist it. We may not be able to see that this is the perfect thing that is happening right now. We may not feel that this is so, but it is still so. It is still so. The sun is still shining, even when we cannot see it. Even in the winter or at night, the sun does not lose its warmth or its luminosity. It doesn't diminish itself, but it is always being itself. Whether we can see it, whether we can feel it, whether we believe it or not. And so it is with God. So it is with the Spirit, this loving presence. It is what it is. And it is expressing itself perfectly, beautifully, magnificently, powerfully, regardless of whether or not we can see it. So in the midst of being hijacked, when the mind is going crazy with thoughts as to what should and should not be, with judgments, opinions, and all these things, we're wise and we're invited to lean into be still and know that all is well. That all is well. And the funny thing, it's not funny, but what is interesting is that for all of our attempts to micromanage and control and dictate and make things happen, as all of these are arising out of a sense of lack, a sense of scarcity, a sense of fear, as we are turning our attention to the worst case scenarios, when we're trying to avoid something, when we're trying to micromanage, when we're not trusting that all is well, when we're letting fear run us and guide and lead and move our steps, what we're doing, and the only thing that we're doing, is inviting the very thing or the substance, the experience of that which we are afraid of. So while the mind and the ego will want us to stay in the doing, to circumvent, to avoid, to stay clear of that which we're afraid of. The real and the most powerful way to navigate through whatever challenge we're moving through is to be still and to come back to the knowing and feeling that all is well. As that becomes where we turn our attention, as that becomes our feeling tone, our predominant feeling tone, guess what? The sacred laws, as they can only mirror and reflect who we are, what we believe ourselves to be, what we believe of the world, where we turn our attention, what we think about the most, what we talk about the most, what we feel the most, as they can only reflect and mirror that. When we live in the knowing that all is well, things are going to work themselves out. Miracles are going to happen. Not because we made them happen, but because we made ourselves open and available for the answers to be revealed. So the invitation is for us to lean into this beautiful affirmation, to lean into be still and know that all is well. Be still and know that all is well. Even in the midst of this, so that when the crap hits the you know what, this affirmation will guide and lead us and move us back into the nowness of this moment, back into the sense of trusting, the feeling tone that all is well. Because so much good is going to come out of it. Nothing but good can come out of it. If this is where we hang out, when we sustain this vibration, when we sustain this feeling tone, we're going to move through the world. We're not going to be of the world. We're going to be in the world. And we're going to move through the world, in the world, untouched by the world. Because nothing, no surface appearance, nothing in the world of effects regardless of how seemingly real it may be, can touch us when we know that all is well, when we know that God is all that there is, when we know that God is good and that God is always expressing himself perfectly. So this is the invitation to come back, to lean into the affirmation, be still and know that all is well, over and over and over and over again, until we live here, until this is the space from which we move. And the invitation is also for us to not move until we know that all is well. No questions today. Thank you so much for tuning in, for participating, for joining me. Until we meet again, I bless all of our days, and I bless all of our ways, knowing and feeling that all is well. Also knowing and feeling that something wonderful is happening, that everything is working for the highest good for each and every single one of us. Much love and many blessings. Namaste.